Lisa, I know that you're an award-winning leader who partners with organizational leaders and engage them with, as I'd mentioned in the intro, empathetic design thinking, evaluation, and needs assessment. And as you said, you do that as a way to determine the appropriate systems and or individual interventions, right? And to align the organizational culture, the business strategy, and the desired performance outcomes. So I'd like to peel back the onion a little bit on that comment. But to start, can you tell our listeners more about this idea of empathetic design thinking? What does that mean exactly?
Sure. So empathetic design thinking is really about centering individuals, and those individuals might be your customers, or if we're talking about the L&D function, they might be your learners or your employees. And it's about making decisions based on their perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So by that, I mean, you have to go interview them. Maybe there's extant data in your system. What you want to know is you want to know what they are thinking and feeling. So what their worries and aspirations are, what makes a difference to them, what's their mindset, what's their character. What do you see around? What do they see rather? What do they see right around them immediately inside of your organization, the physical environment? What do they see in the market? What do they see in their culture, wherever they're from or where they go home to at night? What do they hear? So what influences them? What do their friends and family say? Their friends at work? What do their bosses and coworkers say? What do they say and do? How do they appear to others? How do they behave in public and towards others? And what do they fear or get frustrated by? What are their barriers? And what are their wants and needs and measures of success? So, and what are their facilitators? And then, so that's the first step. But the other step of this is taking all this data that you amass and you aggregate it. And I think historically, we sometimes tended to aggregate into one large group, right? But in design thinking, I think we're recognizing that we become more effective if we're willing to aggregate into different buckets, right? And so then we create plausible personas. And so you no longer try to group everyone into one big group, but you allow for multiple groups. You allow for variations and differences between the groups, and you build on those variations and differences, this rich diversity, to find a wider variety of strengths in your organization and motives for progression. It's easier to align values this way, and you uncover more barriers to address, and you can decide which ones are most significant and address those head on. You know, when you allow for this larger and richer story to unfold inside of your organization. And you feed all of this into your design considerations, into your gap analyses, so that you're better equipped to align your strategic solutions with real, actual individual people needs.
What a great response, Lisa. I really appreciate that. And, you know, organizations really are. They consist of various groups, stakeholder groups. But at the end of the day, it's a group of individual human beings, right? So that idea of being empathetic to people's perspectives and perceptions, I think is pretty important and valuable. Soliciting that feedback is a very useful tool or mechanism for positive change. And the various stakeholder groups and individuals, they're all motivated differently. They all have different levels of knowledge and experience, and they're all impacted differently from various organizational, let's call them settings or artifacts. So I think it's really important to understand that and have some perspective.
Absolutely.